He's the Senior Vice President and Cyber Technology Head, India and APCA, Aujas Cybersecurity. Suhas was an industry principal at Infosys where he directed the development of cloud security services. Prior to his role, he served as the Associate Director in the Cybersecurity Advisory Division in PwC India, where he orchestrated the threat and vulnerability management competency. Suhas has presented at several global conferences and summits, including RSA APJ Singapore, Communique Asia Singapore, OWASP Malaysia, ICACA Dubai, INTR TROP Mumbai, STEPN conferences, and Pune DEFCON 2019. He has also contributed to STN publications such as Linux Journal and Linux for You. So he'll be speaking on the topic DevSoc, practicing security engineering principles to safeguard applications, infrastructure, and cloud. Over to you, Suhas.
Good afternoon. It's wonderful to be here again. Before starting, I want to give a small quiz to you guys. This is a simple C program. Generally, I start with software code. What is the output for this program? Integer main, int I is equal to 7, printf %d I plus plus into I plus plus. It returns 0. So, I repeat, integer I is equal to 7, printf %d I plus plus into I plus plus. 56, okay. What else? 49. What else? 64, okay. So we got 4 answers. First is 0, 56, 49, 64. One more is expected. Hmm? 72. Okay, one more then. So 0, 56, 49, 64, 72, right? What else? Anyone else? One more guess. So for recently joined, we are discussing what will be the output for this program. Integer I is equal to 7, printf %d I plus plus into I plus plus. Generally, I get 5 answers. Now we have received 5, but still one more is expected here. 0, 56, 49, 64, 72. Anyone, those who have given answers for 49, what is the justification for 49? Okay, so I'll stop here. There are 2 answers for this program. You were closer to answer. Pre-increment and post-increment for these 2, it is 7 into 7 and sometimes 7 into 8. So it gives 49 and 56 on different compilers. So just like, so agenda for this is like, so when we are talking about such small code and when we are not following proper practices. So one part is like, so whenever I am writing any code, might be say small code in C, might be Python, might be R language. So multiple languages when we are writing code, and if we are not writing any specifications, at that time what happens, like this is a classic example, if we are not doing proper analysis on the output part, whether it will work on specific platform, specific compiler, specific debugger. Because when I will say this will work on 49, few of you might try it on different compilers. That time it will give you 56. At few compilers it gives 49. The reason for this is like for Borland C, for ANSI C, pre-increment and post-increment standards it follows. That's the reason we get different answers. So this is the one case. So today we'll be speaking about many technologies, then how we are using these technologies in the development cycle, your testing cycle, and why security is important. So that is the agenda for today. When we are talking about technologies, first part is like financial inclusion or payment systems. That comes lot of innovations, and India is been a leader into that. Second part is open banking. So I'll give you a classic example of open APIs. So whenever I'm using or distributing any APIs, at that time what I'm doing, suppose I'm bank and I need to integrate with 5,000 merchants. And in this 5,000 merchants integrations, I'm sharing my APIs. And you, as a testing professionals, you might be testing all these APIs also. During this assessment, have you noticed that different formats for each merchants? There might be, like say, if you are integrating 5,000 merchants, there might be at least 50 combinations, like say different type of APIs, different type of payloads, different type of integration methods at client side or merchant side. And we need to test and we need to manage all the keys into that. We need to manage entire payload. We need to manage secure integrations. That part is needed here. Third part is like say neobank. So when we are talking about banking, so most of the banking systems now are going digital. And now new age banking is with neobanking part. These are the branchless. Then another part is a lot of technologies are changing into telecommunications and media industry. Then 5G is already rolled out. Couple of things which we are seeing in blockchain also. So this is like say you take any new technologies, there are so many things coming up in these areas. Another area, very interesting area is quantum computing. So a few years back, we were talking about lot on the blockchain. We were talking about the cloud. But if you see now, cloud has been adopted. Cloud is in mainstream. So if you see 3 years back, if I used to tell like say somebody, what is your plan for the cloud? So people were saying, now we are migrating. But at this moment, if you are talking with any CXO level people, at that time they will tell, my cloud transformation is done. Now question is like how I can get multi-cloud environment, how I can have heterogeneous environment with legacy systems on premise and I can have multiple clouds. What will be my strategy? So such type of technologies and trends are there in digital transformations. So from the industry perspective in manufacturing, we are seeing lot of things around autonomous robots, we are seeing AI air variables, couple of things which we are doing in 3D printing, augmented reality in 3D printing, then IoT connected devices part. So we are seeing so many initiatives. So if you go for the automotive, lot of autonomous vehicles, then telematics system, predictive analysis. So classic case for predictive analysis is about maintenance for your older mechanical machines on the shops. So if you visit any floor, at that time you check how many years they are running these systems. They will tell these systems were installed in 70s, in 80s. And now major problem is like when I need to do maintenance cycle, when I will get that information. So such type of information is needed for the maintenance analysis part. And that is one of the big area people are talking about. Another area is like say digital twin. So most of the industry people are using digital twin technologies. So here are the couple of examples from the BFSI. Lot of RPAs is there, neobanking is there, digital payments. So that part is covering here. Then from the e-governance perspective, India is way ahead with respect to digital identity. A lot of digital platforms are there. We are one of the advanced countries where smart cities initiatives are there. Most of the public internet initiatives got very good success in India. Then oil and gas, IoT, OT is again adoption. So when people were talking about the connected platforms in energy sector or OT sector, at that time, like people used to say, how I can connect my system for the public on the public internet because there is a risk. But now if you speak with any energy guys, OT, IoT guys, they will tell we have installed couple of OT management platforms, IoT management platforms. That kind of thing which we are seeing in the oil and gas. Another area is like say retail, healthcare, telecom. So a lot of innovations are happening and people are adopting digital technologies. Now because of this, what is happening? It is getting a lot of attention from the hackers community. So if you see the statistics, so lot of attacks has been happened. So one classic case is about malware part or ransomware. So when you are hearing about ransomware, what comes first in your mind? When you are hearing about ransomware, so anyone of might have experienced also ransomwares for your clients or even in your organizations. So what is your first reaction if something goes like this? When you hear first from somebody in your organization like there is a ransomware attack in our systems, what is your first reaction and what you will do on immediate basis? So our first intention or first part is like say, how many systems are affected. To avoid further damage, we try to isolate that system. That is first thing which we do generally. And second one is like I don't know at this moment how many such systems has been compromised. So I need to dip down into that entire ecosystem. Another area is like say there are two types of ransomwares. One point is like say you know that there is a ransomware, your system is locked. and you are able to see contents, but you are not able to access. That is one. Second is like your entire data is encrypted. Your entire data is encrypted, you don't have any access, you can see, you can access the files, but that is in encrypted format and you are not able to access that. And because of in exchange of this decryption keys, people ask for ransomware. So that is on rise now. And initially, like say 5 years back or 10 years back, whenever we used to work for such type of forensics part, that only intention was like to make systems down. Now things has been changed. People are asking money, whether it is in Bitcoin or something like that. So people are asking for money. That is one. Second intention is denial of service for authorized users. That is one state-sponsored attacks for national critical infrastructure. That is the second thing. That we are seeing lot. Another part is like say for the cyber attack, success ratio is 1 in 3. This is very much important. In India specific part, 28 lakhs online frauds has been reported in last 2 years. And this is a big number. This is just for the reported part. And when we are talking about, so this is a public news, ET now has been published piece. The another part is like say I'm not considering cyber crimes here. So all like say social media, fake and likewise. These are like say organization or enterprise level attacks are here. So that is one piece. Now when we are talking about this, so what are the typical types of attacks? One is the denial of service. Second one is phishing and ransomware. Third one is mobile malware. Fourth one, insider threats. And last one is the Internet of Things attacks. I will give you a classic example. If you are a admin for database systems in bank and you have some malintentions or you want to do something in that system, disgruntled employees, what are the possible scenarios here? You are managing very critical banking server, DB server, and you have access to that. What are the things which you can do with that DB server?
Give a backtrace entrance.
Huh?
Give a backtrace entrance in the system so that you can access it from outside the bank.
Okay, that is one. What else? Perform transactions. Okay.
Create probably a dummy bot and then do transaction with that person.
Okay, okay. What else? Okay, I will give you a classic case. This is, we experienced this one case. So, what's your good name? Samir. So, Samir is a millionaire. Okay, in ABC Bank, he has account and he has that 7-8 CR in his account. Suhas is admin there. Suhas has resigned and he is serving notice period. Somehow, he has bad fights with his manager and he is unhappy. Now, what he did, he wanted to teach lesson to his manager. And he knew that Samir, there is one customer, high net worth customer, and he thought to do something with this account, I have anyways access. So what he did, Suhas has account in that same bank. He is a DB, he is a inside employee, he is a DB admin. Suhas password is Suhas at 123. I am just giving example. So Suhas has bank account number 12345, bank account number, Suhas password is Suhas at 123. Now, what Suhas did, Suhas knows Samir's account is also there in that same DB. There is a password field, account number, account name, password field. What Suhas did, Suhas copied his password and pasted against Samir's password. Basic logic, what is there? Said password is encrypted. In DB, password is encrypted, Suhas is not able to read that. But Suhas knew his password. I knew my password, Suhas at 123 is my password. Now I just copied against Samir's password field. Now Samir's password is password at Suhas at 123. Now best way what he did, he called his friend, he told this is one username, this is password, you can try net banking and I will disable OTP server for some time. So what has happened, that guy did some transaction. So immediately bank got notifications around that, some transaction has been happened and that got blocked. But you see entire scenario here. What went wrong here? Insider threat. But what was the major flaw from the design perspective or security perspective? So he was a DB part. He is a database admin. So he was supposed to have access to that system. Yes. So two aspects here. One part is like, if he is doing some changes into that, there should be audit trail logs. So that should be auditable. So someone should get notification. Second point is like, whenever you are having any login and password authentication, or when you are clicking on submit, there should be one validation at the server side. And at that time, if somebody is doing man in the middle attack, or if somebody is copying like this, that should prevent it. So that there should be additional parameter, or we call it as a pillar in that payload, in addition to your password. So your account number, few parts of your account. So we call it as a pillar, or in say technology terminology, it is like say entire payload will have some validations along with your password. If suppose somebody is compromising your private keys or public keys from the cryptography perspective, then in that scenario it helps a lot, because validation will be like your account number or account name, your password which is already encrypted, but in that encrypted payload you are adding additional layer of validations, your date of birth or some account, some parameters, second or third column. Then if I am copying that, if he is, suppose I am copying his password or my password against his password, it will not work, because it will again check for the second or third, because he should know what is the logic, entire code logic and everything. That is the insider threat. That is the one case. Another point is the phishing part. So everybody knew. So whenever we are getting Diwali emails and all, so 30,000 rupees iPhone 13 or say kind of messages which we are getting, there are two types. One part is like you are redirected to any server, or you will be submitting your credentials, and by using those credentials, someone can misuse that. That is one point. Another piece is like denial of service. So like say during our college days, what was major motive? So probably I assume that you are engineering graduates, and during your say submissions, your coding submissions or your assignments part, what was the typical method? So how many of you have wrote code by own during your engineering days? Not now. Very nice. Who else? You also. How many copied? Honestly, I did some. Okay, so generally what we do, so if it is a Linux server, basic idea during examinations, people are storing Java files with .dll format. Day before you will go to lab, you will place some files there, and what teacher will do, she will come tomorrow at say 9 o'clock, she will check on that file, she will search .java file, and she will delete all Java files. Now what is the remediation here? You will save your Java files with .dll. Then nobody will delete that, right? And it will help you. Have you done such things in past? Or are you aware on this? You are aware, right? So there is one classic example. Suppose you relate this to your mobile application. Now you hosted one mobile application. So you spent like say 4 days writing entire Android code, and you hosted this application. So what are the precautionary things you will do? Just think through that. So you are working on one mobile application project, you wrote entire code, this is Android application and you want to publish. What are the precautions you need to take? Okay. Two-step verifications. What else? Okay, let's start with simple thing. So this is your first page of your app. What are the things you will do here? Authentication, authorization, okay. What else? Okay, we'll go one by one. So first part is like, this is your page, you are developing this page. There is an email address, there is a password, and there is a login. First thing you need to consider for, this should be on HTTPS. That is first thing you will do. Second part you will do like say email address. So during your normal testing also, you are doing some validations, right? For security, you need to check for the special characters. Why we do check for the special characters? Because it leads for the some injection attacks. So there are kinds like SQL injection, cross-site scripts, or there are multiple code injection kind of patterns which attackers tries to attempt on the screen. so that he should, or he is trying to get inside DB, or he will put some persistent cross-site scripts on such pages. So to avoid that, you need to have special character validations. That is one. Now password part. So when you are designing such page, password part. So what are the combinations you will do here for the password perspective? I am sharing this presentation. Yep. So you will do password policy. So you will check like say alphanumeric, then password history, then you have not using any special characters. So that combination, there are 7-8 policies you will apply here. Now what else? So we consider email address password. What else? Yes, multi-factor authentication we need to consider. What else? Encryption. Okay, what else? CAPTCHA. What else? Okay, multi-factor authentication. What else? Huh? Without? Okay, single sign-on. Okay, what else?
Login is routing to correct that server. Then it is the login.
Okay, okay,
The URL should be saved.
okay, okay,
Resembling copy paste.
okay, okay. We will not allow copy paste for say password field. What else? Forgot password. Yes. What else? Huh? Number of fields. Okay. So couple of things I am putting it here. So first is input validation you will do. Second is no hard-coded password in your code part. So whenever you are doing vSource, when you are clicking right click and you are checking entire source code, there should not be any hard-coded things in code. Typical habit is like say when I am writing code, I will put some comments and make it as like say green color, like this is a hard-coded or testing password, admin 123 kind of thing. People put. So we should not do that. Another point is like say password masking. When you are typing that password masking should be there. Multiple factor authentication, password policy. There should be robot test page also. Then we will have stripping inputs to avoid memory buffer run kind of thing. Password encryption part. Then sign security headers that is needed. Page should be over the HTTPS. Forgot password link. Multi-login attempts should be restricted. Then CAPTCHA should be there. DDoS protection should be there. So these are the 15 controls. Another 15 controls. Just I am giving sample. Okay. So there are multiple controls also. So one piece is like forgot your email address, geolocation part. So this is a classic case. You can relate with your banking application. If you are traveling abroad and if you are logging from say Middle East or say US, you are getting emails from your banks. That is the geolocation. That also you need to consider during your mobile app part. Then you are checking mock location accessibility, social media login option. Sometimes as per business logic you need to do that. Then web server configurations, then privacy and usage policy you need to put. Third-party authentication, if there are any third-party authentication you need to do. Then VPN login if required for the enterprise applications. Then virtual keyboard. So there are so many things are here. So first part is like say DB server validations, key management and input validations. So this is short list for your simple one page of development in mobile app. Now encryption part. So from the security perspective when you are writing any code, so what are the best things which we need to consider here? So whenever I am clicking on this page, login, this is at client side. Consider this is a web application. You are clicking on login, what will happen here? Whenever you are clicking on login, whatever password, so this is like say suhas.desai@aujas.com, password is abc@123. This is clear test password at this moment. I have not submitted. When I will submit it, then it will go as an encrypted payload, right? Now, what should be the logic there for this encryption?
It should have a key. Can be only decrypted at the server side.
Okay, okay. There should be keys, private keys or public keys. What should be there? What is the best method? Which algorithm we should use? Okay. What else? When I am using any key, where should I store that key? If I am doing encryption, I need to have key. When I am clicking it on sign, code should be executed at that time.
Server side is
Perfect. Because what will happen if I am writing entire cryptographic code or encryption code here, I need to use keys here, private keys or public keys I need to use. If I am putting public key or private key in my code, private key mostly, if in that code anybody can decrypt that, and that is a risk mostly for the man in the middle attack. Now what I need to do, I need to check with server will give me session ID or header ID, and that by using that as a key, my message will be encrypted, and that is the best way. Another classic case, now when you are developing any mobile application, so just that's the reason just I gave you example to correlate for the college assignments. But whenever I am writing any code, if I am putting my efforts, that is my genuine code, that is my business logic, I need to protect my code. And if you see, if you are downloading any APK or Google application or Android application, you check whether you are able to decompile it. So whenever I am getting any code, any software code, I am just giving example for the Android, but you can check any file. DLL is a classic case because when you are decompiling that, then you are able to see entire code. And this is the classic part. So original code is like this compared to object, and I can read that code. Once I am able to read that code, I can copy and paste it, and I can rebuild that code part. Simple, because your logic will be there. And always remember, whenever you are downloading any application, like say ABC Bank.apk from your Google Pay or Market, there are many applications with ABC1.apk also. ABC Bank 1. There are multiple applications. Whenever you are getting any phishing emails or any malicious URLs stating, whenever you are doing select, say I am putting ABC Bank on the Google, so you are getting first 4 or 5 links. You need to check which is the authenticated bank's URL. There might be some dummy URLs, there might be some phishing URLs where you are downloading fake application, fake banking applications, and that can be misused. So here what is happening, because it will look like logo is same, code functionalities are same. This is a classic case. So one part is like say you need to do code obfuscation. Code obfuscation is a technique where this is the, you are putting entire code in unreadable format. So in code obfuscation, if I am writing any code, that will get converted to unreadable format. You are not able to read this entire code, and this will look like this, ABC dot functions. Here you are able to read entire logic, you are able to read entire code. Here you will not do anything. That is important step. Another important step here is like you need to sign your application properly. That is very, very important, because if I am able to do this reverse engineer, I can copy and paste it with different mobile or different server URLs there, and that entire traffic can go somewhere else. I can build such type of applications, dummy applications or fake applications. To avoid that, you need to first do code obfuscation and then sign it properly. Then publish it in your release mode. That is very, very important. So code obfuscation is the major important technique for any application release part. Now, you might have encountered such type of errors in past. So just like I am giving one input and there is an error for the segmentation part. So what are the typical reasons to get such type of errors? Yes, this is classic example for buffer overflow. So when you are testing any application, you need to check whether this application can handle multiple strings or multiple inputs. And this is a classic case, segmentation fault. So just I tested this on Linux platform with GDB compiler, but this is applicable for all other languages also. You need to check whether there is any buffer overflow happens or there are test cases related to buffer overflow. You need to check during your testing. Then we discussed about few cases, like say we discussed about insider threat, phishing, then we discussed about buffer overflow, code obfuscation part. I will give classic case for IoT devices. Suppose this is one small IoT device, just remember it has IP connections and you can get it online also. And if I put it here and you have access for this, what are the possible things you will do this with this device? Huh? No, just consider this is not, consider this is electronic device, simple electronic device, not a projector, simple electronic device which has IP card. Okay, I'll tell you few scenarios here. So one part, I asked this question in one of Singapore conference. I told them case like, if I put this, what are the possible scenarios? Huh? So they told us that will be there for 2 days, 3 days till you come back. So in our cases, what we'll do first, like so person like me, what I will do, I will get this device. I will try whether there is any memory slot. I will try to connect to my system. I will try to check whether data is in clear test. What type of application that device has. Whether I am able to access that application. What will the possible password or PIN combinations. I will try to check. Just relate this to mobile phone. You will try all this, right? Then first thing, let's say you imagine this is a payment device. Now go to the actual your enterprise application or enterprise device testing. Now you will check whether I am able to access that payment device, whether there are any sensitive data available, whether I can transfer some money from that account or from that mobile app, from that device to my account. And second part is like say if there is any local storage, whether I can do anything with that storage. I can still misuse that data. So these are the some cases. Now imagine this is a cloud connected device. I'll give you a classic case. So last year there was one very infamous case for the diabetic insulin pump. Have you heard that case? It was possible to manipulate type 1 insulin ranges through remote location, and it was inserted when older people he was using that, and it was like say more dose was inserted in his blood. And this is real. You can search this also. So infamous diabetic insulin pump attack. So this is the case. You imagine that now. Similar case, if there are couple of applications or devices related to ECG or your say there are mainly healthcare applications connected to your cloud environment. Another is recently, so last week there was one attack on the IoT device where entire cardiac system platform was hacked, and it was possible to manipulate that data also. And one device got access to all other devices also. So that was one case. So whenever you are considering such type of devices or cloud connected devices, you need to consider whether these devices has proper device ID, all the authentication authorization are there, all data storage securely placed in offline as well as online mode, data in rest and data in transits are in secure part. So that we need to consider. Another case here is when we are considering basic things, so this is the threat model part. So I give you one example for the login page. When you are writing any code, you are just developing that login page. We discussed about 30 cases. I give you 30 cases, sample cases, but there are more. And these are the mostly functional or security testing part. But when you are thinking from the attacker's perspective, there might be more scenarios, right? So, and in such scenarios, you need to consider what are the key attacks or what are the key things I need to consider, and that is called as a threat modeling. During your design phase, we need to do that. Major part is like spoofing. One part is spoofing, another is tampering, repudiation, information disclosure, denial of service, and elevation of privilege. This will help, like say, if spoofing is happening, we need to check for the authentication. If tampering is there, we should have integrated payloads, repudiation, non-repudiation part, denial of service, system should be available, elevation privilege, authorization part. I will give you one classic example. So during our appraisal cycle, what is the major concern for normal employee? Salary, right? Typically, you are in same team. I think suppose you are in development team or testing team. There are 4 or 5 team members in your entire group. What is the major concern when you get letters? Or what is your first thought comes in mind?
They should not read us.
Huh?
They should not read our hike.
Salary perks. What else? Normal human tendency. I am not talking about exactly, but if
What you got?
Physical appreciation percentage, bonus, salary, designation.
okay, you are very nice. Actually, you don't think like me. Say typically, if I get appraisal letter, my first intention is my peer, how much he might have got. Right? Now, how to get that? What are the methods you will do? Typically, like say, you will do some social engineering, right? That is one of the famous attack. So similar technique, we use in hacking systems also. Social engineering is a very popular technique to attack or to get information about victim systems or applications. And by using social engineering, there are many attacks has been happened. That is one part. Second part is like whenever, another point is like we always see like say I need to get more privileges in my account. If I am normal user, I always wanted like I should have admin access, I should have admin privilege. So to do that, people try to escalate many privileges. In typical testing cycle or typical security assessment also, we check whether this user has high privileges. We should restrict that. To do that, there should be always testing around vertical privileges as well as horizontal privileges. So that is the one category we need to check. So this is one part. Then another piece is like reputation part. So whenever I am sending one message, I will give you classic use case. So there was one mobile recharge application and we were doing assessment, and that recharge was for 30 rupees. And when I am doing assessment, so from this mobile phone, what I did, I was doing payment. I was in my office infrastructure. I configured proxy server on that. During those days, it was like say early 2010 kinds. It was proxy server and people used to route entire traffic through that proxy server in office network or in your local infrastructure kind of thing. What used to happen, that entire traffic used to go to proxy and then it was redirected to main server. So what are the possible scenarios here? People, and you might have heard that during cyber cafes days, like say early 2000 kinds, people used to put some interpreters or interceptors to capture traffic, to capture login IDs and everything, and such type of attacks has been reported at that time. What will happen here? Whatever data I am putting on my mobile, that was getting captured. So there were a couple of tools like Wireshark or those days Ethereal kind of thing. People used to get data. Then what will happen in this case? I am able to get entire payload. And there is a very famous attack category called as a message replay attack. Have you heard about this message replay? So this is a very common attack. What happens? I just captured that payload. It is strongly encrypted. But I am not aware like say whether I don't need to do decryption around that payload. Whether I don't have any keys and all, I am not able to do that. But what I did, I captured that. I captured that entire payload. I sent that message more frequently to application server. And at application server, what has happened? 150 rupees recharge first time got successful. Again, I sent it as a message reply attacks for 10 times and it got successful. What could be the reason here? Perfect. Because what has happened? I did everything. I did strong encryption, payloads are there, then keys has been exchanged at both sides. So from server side, client side, it has been there. What has happened? My system has recognized that this process is valid and I am processing it. But it has not added timestamp, and because of that, it was considering every request as a authenticated and valid request. So to avoid that, we need to have non-repudiation part. That is one case. Now, when we are talking about categories or assessment, so this keeps changing every 3 years, 4 years. So OAP's top 10, these are the broad categories in assessment cycle. One is like broken access control, cryptography failure, injection, like SQL injection, cross-site scripts kind of thing. Then insecure design part. So these are the few attacks categories which we need to do. Now secret key management. So whenever we are discussing about cryptography key management, we need to have key management portions for the applications, databases, SaaS, PaaS and IoT devices. That we need to do. And for this is a typical flow. We discuss from the login page, it will go to server, then it will exchange like session ID from the server and it will do validations. When we are talking about this, another area is like what is the security? In the design phase, whenever or you are testing it at the deployment phase, first is like 150 high findings will be there. Then it will go for the, like say 490 server findings. Then it will like say 5 days to go live. Then this is a very critical situation and most of you have encountered such kind of thing, like there is a go live in 5 days and I need to do something around that. Then DevSecOps comes in picture. We need to have speed, security, we need to do implementation here. The goal should be safe and secure mechanism, and around this is the cycle which we need to build. This is a very, very important cycle. You need to do like you are doing planning, you are doing code analysis, then you will building entire code, then it will be in testing part, pen test part. Then in deployment phase, there will be log, there will be audit part, there will be threat intelligence, and everything will be like monitor recurring piece. So this is about DevSecOps pipeline building piece. And at each stage, you need to build your security layers. It will go in planning phase, it will go in coding phase, it will go in deployment phase. Another part, there are a couple of tools you might be using this. These are the DevSecOps tools. And when we are talking about this, for the cloud part also, you need to check for the container and cloud security piece. Then there are a couple of things around all the release cycle and cloud managed security services. That is very, very important in cloud DevSecOps. So typical Microsoft framework is related to this. You need to do planning and development. You need to commit entire code, then build and test, go in production. And last but important is like this is a cloud security framework. You need to build entire managed security services. You need to control all your patients, like say implementation around identity management, cloud network security. You need to implement API security. Then it will go for the continuous assessment. Data security controls also you need to build. Then last one is 24/7 monitoring piece. These are some sample controls typically for the cloud environments, AWS, Azure, as well as GCP. So I have added it in category wise. You can implement this. So last but not least, this is a very, very important to practice good DevSecOps model. You should have good DevSecOps culture. Then there should be threat modeling. We discussed this in detail. Then there should be security automation plus security coding practices should be there. Very, very important. You should have security best practices. Then infrastructure should be hardened properly. Then you need to have CI/CD pipeline. Another important piece is like you need to run DAST and SAST, dynamic security assessment, as well as pre-deployment and post-deployment security assessments. These are the couple of things which you need to do to follow good DevSecOps. That's all from my side. I'm open for questions if any. Yeah. Yeah. So first part is like say when you are doing this, so planning and development phase, you will have threat modeling. During this, you will set up entire process. Then it will go for the security plugins. What are the security plugins you will be building into that? And that is the process. Again, this part is about the committing code. You are doing actual code and testing it. But when you are writing any code, at that time security coding standards and peer review. This is a typical process you need to follow. And if you see entire process part, here everything is there. All the policies and planning phase are here. You need to set up process here. So entire DevSecOps process is around this.
Yeah, in the interest of time, I think you can take the questions offline. Thank you, Suhas, for such an insightful session. On behalf of StepIn, we would like to call Part to felicitate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.